Hi guys. Um, this trip I'm going to release next was one that my wife and I took a couple of weeks ago, and the end of July. Um, she's not one to do the 4,000 footers and a lot of strenuous climbing. She was looking for a trip that she wanted to backpack, but she didn't want to have to really do a lot of exertion. So last year I did the 100-mile wilderness. I started at Katahdin and I went south to Molson. And from A-Ball Bridge, which is the boundary of Baxter State Park in Maine, south to Katahdin Ironworks or Mary Jo Road, that first 50 miles heading south again is relatively flat, and it's remote somewhat, but it's beautiful. 80% of it, you have water access to lakes and rivers and streams. So we decided to do that 50 miles. And I did my research. I called Shores Hostel. I called the Appalachian Hostel in Millinocket. And then I found another gentleman, Brian. I'll put his information at the end of this film. He lives right in Millinocket. Actually, he's right behind McDonald's in Millinocket. He runs a canoeing, kayaking guide service on the 3 major rivers up there. He does shuttle service. He, next year, will be opening up his own hostel. He just bought the house next door to himself, and he's rehabbing it now. Very reasonable from all the others that are up there. Real nice guy. He was born and raised in the Millinocket area. He knows a lot of neat stuff. He gave me some nice info on some fishing spots, stealth sites off the beaten path. So I'll put his information down at the end. But I want to just lay the groundwork here, so when you're watching the film, you'll have an idea of what happened. We were planning on a 4-day, well, we took 5 days of food, but we figured 4 or 5 days to get out of there, to do 50 miles. We were only looking to do 7-8 miles a day. We had 7 days to do it. It was just a relaxing. I brought my fly rod with me. And it was beautiful. We stayed at Antlers campsite, right on a lake. We stayed at another shelter on one of the rivers. And then we ended up at the White House Wilderness Camps, which is about 30 miles from the end of the 100-mile wilderness. And just by accident, we happened to find his card on a tree. And I remembered reading about this place. And you go to a shoreline, you know, the information will be on the video. You go to the shoreline where he picks you up. It's a boat ramp. He has a 2-way radio. You call him because this wilderness camp is a mile on the opposite side of the lake from where they pick you up. So you call them, they come right out, they pick you up, they bring you to their camp. It's a wilderness camp, but it's pretty nice. It's all cabins. You have a bunk room, you have hot showers, you can do laundry. They don't have machines, you got to do it by hand, but still they have everything there for you. They have like a main clubhouse where they cook your meals and you gather around there. They have a little bit of resupplying there, only for paying guests, not just for thru hikers. They do not cater to thru hikers. So we ended up going there. We did a late afternoon stop there because we had met people on the trail, and they were eating pizza. We're going, where did you get pizza out here? And they said, oh, we spent the night at the wilderness camps and they have pizza, and we hiked out with a pizza. I said, oh, okay. So anyway, we got up there. I saw the little card on the tree, so I called them. And I got their prices, not bad. The bunk room is $35 a head. The private rooms are $45 a head. Breakfast, what was breakfast? Like $9.50 or something for breakfast. All the pancakes, well, they had eggs and bacon, muffins, and then all the pancakes that you could eat for $9.50, which wasn't bad. And then they have dinners, and I had a pizza, I had a huge pizza. And I mean, it wasn't bad. I think it was $15 or something like that. Burgers are, I forgot what the burgers were. They're like $14, something like that. Not overpriced for where you're getting this meal. I mean, they have to, they're way off the beaten path. Most people, they hike in. They do have a plane that flies in a float plane that will land on the lake at their shoreline. And anglers and families will fly in. To go in by car, it's you can't really go in by car. You need like a SUV or something, and it takes an hour or so of back roads to get to this place. I mean, they're way out. And if you find them on a map, you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, we spent the night there. And the forecast again was for torrential rain and thunderstorms 2 days from when we were going to get out. And the wife did not want to have to hike in that. She just did not want it. So she was actually inquiring how much is the plane to pick her up, jokingly. And some other gentleman that was there, it was a full house, said something about hiking out. And anyway, we heard that you could hike out of there and cut off 20 miles of the AT, but you'd have to bushwhack and work your way through the Katahdin wilderness area. And that really intrigued me. Because I had already done the AT. Basically, it's kind of boring. It's just flat. It's beautiful, but I've already done it. I wanted something exciting. So my ears perked up when she was the owner was explaining this backcountry route to get out of there. And I jumped right on it. This was in the morning before we were loading up on the boat to take us back across the lake to the AT. And I started inquiring, and she says it's a combination of trails, old abandoned fire roads that have been thrown over, snowmobile trails, and canoe trails where people will take their canoes from one lake to the other, but they have to walk through the forest to get to another lake. There's a name for that. I forgot what it is. I'm not into that yet. Yeah, we crossed a couple of them. Really screwed me all up because I had no idea what these trails were way out in the middle of nowhere. I had 3 maps, a GPS, and none of them indicated that this trail should be there. And it really screwed me up a little bit, like where are we? Did we take a wrong turn? But we did not take any wrong turns. We did not get lost. We actually did the 10 miles of bushwhack and backcountry traversing in about 7 hours. So it really wasn't that bad. I really enjoyed it. So I'll be talking about that later on into the video. And at the end of the video, I'm going to come back and I'm going to explain how I went about cutting through the wilderness area, basically. So I hope you enjoy this. I highly recommend doing the 100-mile wilderness. It's really not that wilderness. It's pretty nice. Last year I did it in 7 days from Katahdin all the way to Munson. You do have to go over some 4,000 footers. The last 40 miles or so, it is a little, you have to go over mountains, but it's not that rugged. So, but I highly recommend it. And so let me start this video. And if you have any questions, just post them at the bottom. I'll try to answer the questions for you whenever I see them. Okay, so enjoy. Okay, we're on another adventure. This is a 1-week trip. We have 7 days of food to do 50 miles. So we are out here to have a nice relaxing time. I brought the fly rod. Donna's got some books. And we are, oh yeah, I should tell you where we are, huh? We're in the 100-mile wilderness in Maine. And Saturday, August 18th, I believe. And just got dropped off. We're doing a point A to B, not a loop or anything. Point to point, I guess you might call it. And we left our car up at A-Ball Bridge, which is at basically the entrance of entering Baxter State Park, right at the AT trailhead. And we got a shuttle south 50 miles. So yeah, we're just looking to maybe do 8 miles a day. And we're going to take our time, just enjoy it. I blew through here last year. And this year we're doing all the little blue side trails. So we're going to chronicle this trip. I have some new gear again that I really, really like, which I'll pass along to you people. It's driving, it took us 8 hours to get up here. Well, maybe 7 hours, I think. But we had heavy, heavy rain come through. Just as we hit the trail, the sun popped out. So hopefully that's a good omen. All right, so we'll get back to you in a while. Oh, it's 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And we're only doing 4 miles. We're just going to go to this first shelter coming up. I'll give you the name of it in a little while. I forgot it. Some kind of stream. I forgot the name of it. Met a couple of Sobos already. Met another northern through hiker. He just passed us. He's ahead of us, an older gent. And just met a woman on the beach who through hiked last year and is now back to do this section because she loved it so much. And I don't blame her. I was here last year too. This is a beautiful section. So this is going to be my annual August trip. Will be the 100-mile wilderness. Got a new shuttle driver, very reasonable, and I'll pass his info along in a little while, or maybe at the end. I got a picture of his business card. He's out of Millinocket. So, all right, we're off for hopefully a very enjoyable week. Okay guys, we're all set up here. We're at Cooper Brook Falls shelter, but this is the tenting area just up. The shelter is just down the hill a little bit right here, and then we have the falls right there. Showed you the falls earlier. Nice spot. We got one step right over there. She's crashing already. It's I don't know what time. What time is this thing? I think it's 6 o'clock, 6:30, something like that. So we were up at 4 a.m. to get up here in the Maine, so I'm pretty tired. We hiked a little under 4 miles to get to this spot from where we get dropped off. We got here about 4 o'clock, so not too bad. There are the falls down there. Oh, nice spot. And we got the sun going down right over there. So sunset this time of year is oh well, my watch said sunset's going to be at 8:19. So a couple hours, I guess. I'm going to lay in my hammock and read, and so show you. I like these. I'll do a little gear review here on these my little stakes, my tent stakes here. Let me get them here. I've got one right here again. I think I showed you this earlier this year. I tried these out. On the Tahoe Rim Trail too, in the hard pan, and I set up one night on granite, and I just put these out, and then I put a boulder on it, and it held fine. This here soft peat moss is like 4 or 5 inches of peat moss here. All the other anchors I've used, the titanium shepherd hooks, they're no good. They pull right out. The groundhogs, they're okay, but because of the V shape, they load up with gunk, and it takes forever to clean it before you can store them away. So I got rid of those. So far, these are the ones that are working. These are the 8-inch, all aluminum, hollow, and you get them at hyperlight.com out of Maine. They're the ones that make the Hyperlight backpacks. They're the only ones that carry these things now. They're the 8-inch. Highly recommend these. They're super light. I don't have the wet measurements here in front of me. They're worth taking because they just do not come out. These are the ones that I'm going with now. This is my go-to stakes for my hammock setup and for my Z-Pack duplex. Especially that. I don't want to have a storm blow those stakes out. Now you're running around at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning trying to restake in a pouring rain, wind-driven rain. That's not fun. So just my little tip. This is my recommendation. I would highly recommend going with these. These are a go-to all around in all conditions. Hard pan, snow. You can use them as dead men. Use them as dead men on when you're out west and you're setting up on a granite. Just put a boulder on it. Put your line right through the center. Put this on the ground with a boulder over it. It's not going anywhere. So that's today's tip. Tomorrow I'm going to talk about my Hokas. Hoka shoes, trail runners. This is my 3rd trip now with them. I got about 125 miles on these things. I'll talk about those tomorrow. I think they're going to, I've tried the Ultras. Not a fan of the Ultras. Don't like the Ultras at all. These things are awesome. All right, talk to you tomorrow. All right, people, out.